this video.
Check onto the mic test. Check.
Is that possible? Because I'm sharing my screen here, no? It's showing the
What you're building this screen you want to record or download?
Check onto the.
this screen is I want to
Only
present.
for here only. And
Yeah.
the cable is
Coming both.
Just
Oh.
one thing I want to add here. But
Hello. Hello. Hello.
I'll just get some pasta. Yeah.
Hello, mic test. Hello. Unmute. Okay, speak.
Hello,
It's coming.
can you come in?
Coming.
Hi, good morning, everyone. It's a true honor to welcome you all to NetApp Scholar Day, a day that brings together purpose, partnership, and possibilities. Is the voice coming fine? Okay. So, to our bright engineering scholars who have come from different colleges across Bangalore, welcome. You are the reason we are here today. And we are so excited to spend this whole day with you. To our senior leaders from NetApp, and to our incredible partners from Foundation for Excellence, our colleagues and our volunteers, thank you for being here and for your commitment to making a difference. At NetApp, we believe that access to opportunity should never be limited by backgrounds. And that's why we take our community work very seriously. Our mission goes beyond technology. We are committed to expanding access to tech, specifically data and AI literacy, skills, and careers specifically for those who need it the most. Our partnership with Foundation for Excellence actually began in 2016. We started supporting only 9 engineering students back then. And today I'm proud to say that we are supporting 157 students, including this year's cohort. Out of 157, 57 graduates have already passed out, and they're working in various multinationals across the globe. These scholars come from 16 states, and they are studying in 70 institutions, 70 colleges across the country. We have 58% of them hailing from rural backgrounds, and many of them come from financially constrained backgrounds, but yet they are pursuing courses in computer sciences, IT, and now in courses related to AI, ML as well. The dreams as big as any. We are also proud of our mentorship program in partnership with FFE. We had 40 plus NetApp mentors in partnership with WIT India, who have guided scholars over the year. In current cycle, we have 25 mentors who are actively engaged with, and spending meaningful time with their mentees. And we have seen real impact from technical training on Kubernetes and Gen AI to internships and placements. One of our scholar, I just want to mention for the benefit of this group is one of our scholar called Sachin Dapure, who was placed in ICICI Bank with a package of 16 lakhs last year. A life-changing leap from the kind of background that we have seen our scholars coming from. So today is a celebration of all this and more. Here is what we have lined up today. So we're going to start with a panel discussion with some of our most inspiring senior leaders present here. Following that, there is going to be a speed mentoring session where you'll get to interact directly with NetApp employees. Following that, we have lunch, and then we want to have you all visit our data centers, giving you behind the scenes look at how we power innovation and we manage data. And of course, we will have a lot of time to connect with each other as well. So now it is my pleasure to welcome our moderator for the panel discussion today, Mr. Ram Kolavelu, who is the CEO of Foundation for Excellence. Ram has spent years working at the intersection of education and equity, and under his leadership, FFE has empowered thousands of students across India. His deep understanding of both the challenges and the potential of students make him the perfect person to guide this conversation today. Joining Ram on stage, we have our panelists, and we request you to take your seats. Vasanti, Joseph, Anju, and Shilpa, please take your seats. Each of them brings a wealth of experience, insights, and heart to this conversation. And I know you're going to walk away inspired. So without further ado, I would like and hand it over to Ram to kick off the panel discussion. Thank you all once again for being here, and let's make this day unforgettable.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Yeah. Good morning, everyone. How's the Josh? Can't hear. Hi. Good. Very good morning. It's a pleasure and honor to be part of this lead panel. I think getting all of them together is one of the rare occasions, and thank you for taking your time in the busy schedule. Kids, this is all for you guys. Okay, so this today, just make most use of it. While we'll have some thoughts which will come in, but it's more to be interactive. So just pour in all your questions, all your thoughts which you have, any questions and doubts you have, and make most of the use of the day. I mean, for NetApp, I think they're doing phenomenal work on the data side, and one of the largest organizations in the world actually rely a lot on NetApp. They're transforming the intelligence into a meaningful difference in their businesses, and they live, all four of them live and breathe out that mission every day. So it's great to have all of them here today. So what I'll start off with you, Vasanthi. You spent almost 3 decades in the industry, and you've seen the technology change. I mean, probably there's a slow pace earlier and in a rapid pace now. Even today, we hear that the landscape is changing very, very fast. Some stats talk about 85% of the jobs will need new skills by 2030. And you will interacting with the industry leaders as well. How do you see at a macro level the picture changing, and what would be your suggestions for the students who are aspiring to get into careers in engineering?
Firstly, good morning to all of you. It's very nice to see all of you over here, and I'm so happy to see so many women in this team. So, not that I'm unhappy to see men around, but I'm happy to see women in this thing. It's very nice to see the young force equally coming here and sharing opportunities. We have Shilpa who will talk more about equal opportunity at NetApp. Ram, I think, yes, I'm pretty old. I have many years of experience in IT. I can tell you so much. There's been major shifts. I've seen a lot of shifts, right? Coming from just writing simple client server code to the internet, to like the whole explosion of e-commerce, distributed computing. Today, we are in like something much, much, much bigger scale, right? There is a huge industry change shift that is happening, right? At a macro level. AI is no longer an experiment. If you really look, there have been big impacts, whether it is an empowerment. When you look at apps like Seeing AI from Microsoft, where you empower a visually challenged person, right, to get real-time information about it and narration on how to navigate. Or even at a wider impact for mankind, like whether when you look at AlphaFold from Google, where they actually are able to find out 200 million protein structures in a fraction of a time of what used to take a long time to do for even one protein structure. This helps in drug discovery and other stuff. Or when you look at lifestyle change, like Tesla, which is trying to do autonomous driving using a lot of neural networks and stuff. So AI is there everywhere. That's the biggest industry trend that is there. Now that has got some related trends that are coming into picture too. And one of the big thing is about data and where your data is and how mobile your data is. And all of this means that customers are no longer thinking about just having a data center, but they're thinking about compute. They're thinking about having the ability to do things quickly. So cloud technologies and just going from on-prem to cloud has become also a big trend in the industry. Well, whenever you have got a tool in hand, there'll also be people who use it in the wrong way. So this means cyber attacks have become a lot more powerful and a lot more, what I would say, increased exponential than what it was before. If you're using AI to do something constructive, there are also people who can use AI to do something very destructive, right? So cybersecurity and knowing your digital footprint is the biggest industry trend too. There's a lot of investment going on in the industry to solve these things. And when we have so much technology going on, how do you use it on your own self? How do you actually get it to the consumer? So a lot of immersive technologies are also coming in. So I see these 4 big trends in the industry today, and they have their related technology trends too, right? And you can automatically tell what the technology trends are. You need to be really good in understanding AI, in improving your skills on artificial intelligence, machine learning. And the most fundamental thing for that is data. So you need to understand data, treat data like it is a separate topic, right? You need to understand how to look at data, how to analyze data, how to visualize data. And with this whole cybersecurity issues that are happening in, the one thing this generation needs to do is to think about how to use software ethically, because this is something that is new. We didn't have to deal with plagiarisms. We didn't have to deal with somebody copying somebody else's USPs, right? This requires the personality to be someone who makes a judgment call. So you are the future who needs to start thinking about how to use these technologies ethically. So ethical technology is going to become a big thing. And the last and the fourth important technology trend that I think is how to actually make a lot of these things sustainable, right? Technology trends in sustainability, in understanding some of the carbon footprint, in understanding how you can improvise in chip or whether it is in cooling of your data centers. A lot of these technologies are something that's going to really be helpful too. So the future is in your hands. And unless you scale upon these technologies, I don't think we will be doing a great job.
Thanks. That's very insightful. I think what I get from here is every walk of our life is revolved around technology, whatever you do. And there are different industry verticals. And all of you have started off your life with having Google, search for. We haven't started with that. I think the next emerging trend is to have similar kind of a thought process on the data side. I think so critical and important for you guys to understand. And with the changing landscape of technology, staying up to date with the moving technology. And so we'll get back to the questions. All of you, if anyone has any questions of any of the panelists, please record it in your notebook or in your mind. We'll get back with question and answer sessions. Let me go to Anju next. Anju, you worked a lot on BI analytics and with a lot of big giants and transformative stuff in AI and ML as well, right? And a lot of good work is happening now at a different accelerated pace. What do you suggest in terms of the specific skills if they want to start looking at while they are getting out of the college? What are kind of skills they're looking at? What are the basic hygiene factors they should have? And what could be the the nirvana stage of having that kind of a skills? And what should they do while they're in college?
Okay, thank you for the question. And firstly, good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure and honor to be here. I think Vasanthi touched upon some really, really good points in terms of what should your foundation be. So just to give you some context, I've grown in this whole data warehousing space where we used to write SQLs manually, use spreadsheets to actually analyze all the data. And today we still see that that's not a lot different, but of course, technologies have evolved. The way you visualize data, you've got some beautiful Tableau reports, Power BI dashboards, all of that help you understand insights in a much faster and cleaner way. So that being said, I think data is going to be the foundation for anything that you want to go and do. So understanding your data, a lot of analytical skills, right? It's just not about learning Python or any particular technology, but it's all about your analytical skills and how you improve on that, your problem solving skills. I think that's going to be the foundation. Then in terms of technology, Python is really, really a must have. And I'm sure in all your colleges that is being taught, because be it in ML, be it as an AI ML engineer, a data scientist, they're saying your basics have to be very strong in Python. And then SQL, right? There was a phase where they said you don't have to write a lot of SQL. You can use ETL tools like drag and drops, like Data Stage, Informatica, and all of that. We have come a full circle where today in Snowflake, you still have to write SQL. So we've gone from your Oracle PL SQL to now SnowSQL, and where we have realized that is where you have a lot more control on what you want to do versus just your drag and drop. So basics of SQL, Python, I think those are very, very key skills that you need to have. And apart from on your analytical skills, problem solving skills, like I mentioned, and the way you want to visualize data, right? So your Tableau, Power BI, if you're really looking into being someone on the data side who wants to have or who wants to be a data expert or an analyst, you should have the ability to come up with your semantic layer, with your visualization layer. So some, I would say, skill sets around that. Now, coming to AI ML, so while these are going to be your basics, I think there is a lot of content in general about how AI ML works. So most of us are not going to be building models. Let me tell you that. LLMs, we have enough organizations who are building models for us. It is how we are going to utilize them. What are some of the use cases that you can use AI ML on a day-to-day basis? How is it going to improve your overall efficiency? Things like that. So I would say there are a lot of courses, Udemy, a lot of YouTube videos about what is generative AI, what is agentic AI. Now we are all focusing and shifting towards agentic AI, where AI is just not generating content for you, but now these agents can actually take actions for you, right? So understanding those concepts and the ability to use those concepts on a day-to-day basis, I think you should all focus and do a lot more learning on those areas.
Thank you. I think if you go back to the kind of courses which we are offering, be it a Coursera, be it the latest one on Microsoft, AI skills, I think having fundamental foundations is very, very critical.
Yes.
I think though there's the movie, of Amir Khan, where they talk about how do you do the learning. Learning isn't if you're an electrical or electronics one, ghus jao under and go inside the circuits and all that. I think some way, if that kind of a learning can start happening, that will only happen when the fundamentals are right. At a ground level, get the fundamentals right, both from a technology standpoint of view and basic analytical skills and all which need to be built in. So what we do to the students is we actually do an baseline assessment in the year one to an AMCAT test, which also gives us English communication as well as analytical skills where they stand, and put them through intervention there, and then also provide with the different technical courses, because what is taught in the college is probably a little dated, and changing something there is difficult. So make most use of that, and then you can, if you have any questions for Anju, please hold it, we'll get back. And let me come to you, Joseph. I think you're going to segue into how do we do this learning. You spent between four of them, probably they have about 100 years of experience, and in the newer areas of newer areas. And one of the things which is common is with the change, they're not waiting for the trend to happen. Actually, they're creating the trend. So that's why organizations like NetApp are doing what they are doing. And you, Joseph, have also been helping in the learning area, not for NetApp but also for India as a whole. There's a lot of NASCOM curriculum which you have developed for it's become a standard now for AI. So for I think some of the scholars have this question of being lost in so many things which are there. How do they curate that, and what are the kind of certifications, what are the kind of learnings which they need to have? Because I was telling earlier, what is being taught in the college is little probably dated. Any change which need to be brought in in an IIT, NIT, any curriculum takes a long period of time. So what can they do and now with the internet, there are a lot of opportunities, and how do they curate that information?
Sure. So first of all, good morning and welcome everyone. I can see some very serious faces. Please relax. We are here to share what we can see and what we can see in the future. And we're very excited about the fact that while some of us are at a point in our career where we've got some 10, 15 years of career left, but you've got your entire career in front of you. So it's really important for you to see what the future holds. And from a learning standpoint, I would say it has never been so great in terms of learning opportunity. As you know, the reason for having schools, the reason for having colleges, the reason for having group learning is because we could never have enough teachers to teach people one-on-one, right? If we could do that, everybody would have fantastic learning experience. But one of the big promises of AI is that we can now have a personal teacher, a personal tutor for every person, which to me is the biggest positive that I can think of, because learning is going to be central to what you need to do. Just because you finish college doesn't mean you finish learning. You will have to keep learning because the environment around you, the technology around you, the social environment around you will keep changing. And it will keep changing so rapidly that some of us are probably scared, how are we going to survive? Because we've never had that kind of change in our lifetime. I think everybody has seen what internet has done. Today, if you forget your phone somewhere or you lose your phone for 10 minutes, I think it'll be a very difficult situation. Some of us never had a phone, right? We grew up in a time where we never had a phone. Then we started with pagers and this and that. But it has become very different. And it's going to be very different in the next 5 years, 10 years, and so on. When it comes to learning and what we need to focus on, I want to draw your attention to a graphic I shared here. This is basically from the World Economic Forum. There's a report that actually talks about skills and how they're going to, be important over the next 5 years or so. So these are skills that are emerging skills. They're important, but they're growing in importance. These are the skills that are absolutely core to the future. So some of it will be very surprising for you. Things like analytical thinking is fine, but leadership and social influence. Today we think of social influence as influencers. That is not the social influence I'm talking about. I'm talking about standing up for your rights, standing up for what we should do collectively as human beings, because we are entering in a future where a lot of that is going to become very challenging. Okay, some of the biggest companies in the world, some of the most advanced companies in the world are putting humanity at a place where it's going to be an existential question. 5 years, 10 years from now, it could be a very different world, like you see in those science fiction movies, Never, Tomorrowland and all that stuff, right? So what's going to happen is that you and the generation that is coming up now, you will have to make some important decisions. You'll have to make your presence count, and you will have to know what to do, how to come together and create an environment which will actually be the right environment for us. So having the social skills, being able to create a social movement, being able to influence other people with data, with the right, and again, data is going to be very important. You still need to thrive in this data economy. But these kind of skills like technology literacy we talked about, just because AI is doing everything doesn't mean we don't learn about technology. We have to be very clear, what is this technology doing? How can I use it? How can other people influence my life? How can they use it against me? You have to learn a lot. So your learning curve will be very steep. You will have to learn a lot more than I think any of us had to learn in our lifetime. But the good news is that you have the tools. You have the capability. There are free, like if you go on Microsoft's website, you have free access to Copilot. You go to Google, you have free access to their AI tools. Some of the best AI tools that are available right now, you can all access them. How can you use them? Ask questions, learn about what you really want to know. You don't have to go to textbooks anymore. It's pretty much becoming like that now. Okay. So that's exactly what we are doing. So I'm responsible for building learning infrastructure and maintaining learning infrastructure at NetApp. And one of the things we are struggling with is how to build that infrastructure so that we can make sure that it's safe, it's secure, it's something that people can actually use in a safe manner, but also it gives us the competitive advantage to learn things fast and to apply things fast. So your challenge will be the fact that you have the tools. Your challenge will be how quickly can you learn. So you see something called as flexibility and agility. It's very important for you to not think like, oh, I've learned this, I've done my graduation, I've learned this technology, now I can rest on those. No, you have to continuously learn. You have to continuously see what's happening around you and really, focus on that. Some of the things that, if you notice here, is environmental stewardship, which I would say is more like social and environmental stewardship will come together. So how do we use technology to do the right things? Like, for example, I would say in the last 100 years, I think the biggest menace we have produced collectively is plastic, right? So that's a huge challenge for us because now we are trying to clean plastic from everywhere. Same thing, when you look at 10 years, 15 years down the line, what are we doing with AI? What are we doing with the technologies today? And how can you and your group of generation can have an impact on the planet is going to be really important. So again, you may think like, he's talking really big things, I'm just a student here, what am I going to do? It counts. Every voice, each of you, how you design your life, how you learn, it's going to make a difference. So my only advice to you is keep yourself abreast with these kind of pieces of information. Where's the technology going? Where are we going as as a generation? And prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself and work together to create a better tomorrow. That's my only takeaway.
Thank you. Very, very interesting stuff. I think you mentioned about how the basic skills are very, very important. If I start looking at what organizations are going to look at in the future, it's a combination of various different things. There's a lot of soft skills and leadership skills out there. So I think the taking people take it for granted that you'll have certain skills, the technical skills and all will come in, and you're expected to have those skills. But these are the ones who probably are going to make huge difference. And a very valid point in terms of today, we don't need to wait for anyone to go into a classroom and learn anything. There is a tutor who can come onto your laptop and teach you, and it's a personalized one. So I think that is a huge difference, and you are blessed to have that kind of infrastructure to be able to help and support you to learning. I think learning is not restricted to anything for anyone anymore.
I mean, I would just cap it up by saying that the Future Skills Prime platform that we have partnered with on NASSCOM, they have a huge collection of materials which are produced by some of the best companies in India, including NetApp. And we've all put that material together. So you have free access to all that information, all those courses. Make good use of it. But again, like I said, anything we publish is probably outdated in 2 months because the way technology is moving. So you have to do the work to go back and say, okay, how can I learn something which is brand new, which is current? And so that work will have to, sit in your own hands.
Absolutely. Please, I think there's no field. I mean, people may think we are an NGO. We are very far away from technology and all that. For us, every year there are about 35,000 students who apply for scholarships. And then the amount of data which comes in and the churning which needs to happen. I don't know how many of you signed up for the LinkedIn and the Microsoft AI courses which were offered. I finished all the 19 of them. So I think it's not sitting. It is very important for all of us to stay there and learn new things, because that's the future is. And some of those skills are really, some of you have taken pictures of this one. They're also available, I think, in public domain.
There's a whole report available. It's free. And we can share the link.
I think half of them are thinking why you didn't give this chart 3 years ago when they spent time on linear algebra, a lot of other things, programming and all that came in the corner of there. And I spent so many hours doing that homework. Trust me, you need all of that.
But that is fundamental. I think that fundamental, the more fundamentally tuned you are in, it is easy for you to start building the pillars. You need to build the foundations, and those are the foundations and all. And he did mention about leadership and all that. Shilpa, I know you were a big advocate of diversity and have done fantastic work in that particular space. I'm very happy to see more girls here. So I think what's happening in that area, I think while we've done a lot of work, we still have 25% of the workforce are women. What are the opportunities with the students have? And I really probably, if it's okay if you can share your personal journey in the last 15, 18 years of your working, and how do you see this changing, and how any suggestions for everyone, actually, all of them?
Sure. I just have an observation before I start. When I saw the room, all the boys are sitting in the front and all the girls are at the back. Why is that? Why is that?
I think it's the second row, so B for boys.
It just comes innately, isn't it? Just like there is a divide, I don't know, in our mind, socially or whichever way it is. We just, as women think that it's okay to sit behind. Should never think that way. That's the point number one. But, going to what Joseph said on the skills that we all need to have. Of course, everybody needs to have technical skills. You're all engineering students, data, AI, everything is important. But it is equally important to have social skills. It's equally important to have soft skills. If you cannot speak what you have in your mind, that literally is of no use, right? So we need to know how to lead with an example. We all need to know how to lead with the technology or the data that we have. And specifically for women, specifically in India, things are changing. There is so much more opportunities than any one of us saw in our careers. So take advantage of that, of the opportunities that are available. The first step is always your own mindset. Unless you believe in yourself, nobody else will. So unless you think you need to be in the front seat, you will not be in the front seat. That is point number one. You have to believe in yourself. Now, in terms of the opportunities, I mean, the data, if you look at it and if you go by the data, of course, there are only 25%, 50% join colleges, 25% make it to the corporate world, just 10% make it to the C staff. Why is that? Does anybody know why is that? Everybody's just listening, not talking. Why do you think women drop out? Why do you think the number of women who reach to the top are very low?
Open up.
Come
boys
on,
and
somebody
girls.
has to
Yeah,
speak
yeah,
up. It's supposed to be an interactive
Yeah.
session. Everybody had coffee. I saw everybody had coffee. You settle for what you have. Very good point. Anybody else want to add? Family pressure, parents' pressure to get married, to have kids, to settle down. According to them, settle down is to have kids and get married. Yes, it is a fact and it is true. Anything else?
You had something.
Same point. They have been brought up in such a way that their mindset is focused on family and career is secondary for them.
Correct.
What
That is
most of the Indian households.
absolutely true. Absolutely true. So what does this all relate to? It's a social pressure. Each one of us have, right? And I'm not saying men don't have. Men have the pressure of earning, whether they want to or not. They have the pressure of earning. Like you are the breadwinner of the family, right? So you have to earn. You can't be an artist. You have to be an engineer, right? And same goes for women. You have to be the caretaker of the family. You need to have children. You need to get married, and career comes secondary. How is it that we're going to change? What do you think you're going to change to not fall under this pressure? And I will share what I did, but I want to understand from you. You are now going to be in that stage where you will pass through engineering, probably get a job, and then the pressure will start. Get married. You need to have kids. This is the right age of having kids. If not now, you will not be able to have kids, and what not, right? The blah blah uncle's daughter is getting married and you are still here, and all that. What do you think you need to do one thing differently to not fall under this pressure? I'm not saying give away your family and don't talk to them, and I'm not talking about all that at all. But what do you think you will do one thing different, or can do, want to do? Okay, yes, that's the mindset. Thank you. Come on, there are so many girls here. Ability to make firm decisions, absolutely. Okay. Okay, prioritize. Yes, sounds very interesting. You will know how difficult that is, but that is true. We all need to learn to balance. Anybody else? Come on, this side of the room has not spoken. Yes, yes. Anything else? Okay, I'll tell you two things that I did. One, I was an excellent student. It was too hard for my parents to say no. I was just so brilliant in my studies. It was too difficult for them to say no to me to pursue anything further. Second, like most of you said, you have to be financially independent. Once you have that financial independence, it's easier for you to take that decision. The social pressures are never going to go away. I had my first kid when I was 35. That's not a norm in India. 35 is too old. You're just too old. You're not, that age of bearing kids is gone away in your life, right? It is never too old. It's never. So, you have to have first the mindset. You need to be good at your studies, do everything that all of these people said about data and science and intelligence. You have to ensure that you're excellent at what you're doing. You have to ensure that you're focusing on getting a right job, or getting the right skills, but the jobs will follow. And then you will have the mindset and the courage to speak up and prioritize your life. So it's very, very important, and especially for girls. I know how difficult it is to fight the social pressure. Again, none of us are trying to tell you to just give away your family. I'm not going to talk to my parents anymore. And that's not the right thing to do. But you have to carve out the path for yourself and don't give up. And there are women who don't like to do jobs, and that's fine as well. Each one of you have your personal choice. If there is This is not something that's for you. This is not something that's for you. But if it is, then just don't give up. Now, in terms of NetApp, and how we are supporting women, and we partner closely with FFE, and this is our small bit that we are trying to do outside of NetApp to support the community, and specifically the women community, is we do mentorship programs every year. Have any one of you participated in the mentorship program that we do? Okay, probably not. We also do a lot of sessions, like we did some on Kubernetes. Recently, we did on Gen AI, on LinkedIn profiling, how the skills that you can build. So take advantage of that as and when you can. So we do a lot of that. We run a lot of program for women within NetApp as well to ensure there is equal opportunity. And I would say, as leaders, it is each one of our responsibilities to ensure that there is inclusion and there is equal opportunity for everybody, right? As well as for you all as future leaders. As you saw, the skills that you need is to lead by example. If you do not lead by example, the next generation is going to also sit here and ask the same questions to all of you. So hopefully we're going to make that difference, that every generation we move on further and we don't even have these questions in mind that, can women do this, or can I do this, or can you do this?
Thanks, Shilpa. I think every one of you who's in the room has ticked the first box, because you're all here because you're doing really well in your whatever examination. There was no way for anyone to stop you to get to where you are. I think the second one is also equally important. A lot of you have actually spoke about it. I think respecting ourselves is the first most important thing. If you're not taking care of ourselves, it's very difficult to take care of anyone around you. So I think very, very valuable input, and the kind of work which is happening. So a lot of the scholars are not NetApp supported scholars. That's why they're probably not part of that mentorship program, but all of them, the third and fourth year, go through a mentoring with experience group. We'll open up for the question and answers, but before that, I just wanted one thing. I think we spoke about skills, we spoke about how they should go and acquire these things. There's one thing which intrigues me is the innovative mindset. While a lot of people are swimming through the flow of learning things and all that, how do you just make sure that the innovative mindset is very, very closely imbibed into them while they are in their college and while they're still studying?
I think you can become innovative when you can start seeing problems around, right? It's most important for you not to neglect something. When you see an issue, you need to first and foremost internalize it. That's an issue and you want to solve it. So we gave a lot of feedback, information right now about what skills you need to learn, what sort of technologies are important, what you need to empower yourself to become successful as any gender that you are. The most important thing is your intricate ability to actually sit down and say, this is a problem I want to solve. If you don't have that within you, does not matter what skill you have, you will not put it to use. So I think the first important thing is to acknowledge there's a problem. I like what Joseph said, right? We created a mess of this world by putting plastic everywhere, right? You are the future who can actually make sure that this messes out. I'm not saying that we want to give you all the messy problems, right? But the point is, there is an opportunity, vast opportunity to make things, to reset things. The whole mankind took this curve of like creating, innovating stuff and like getting onto the spurge of becoming as smart as possible to make our lives easy, to make it convenient. Maybe we need to slow down and see how do we reverse back some of these things. That's the first step, that having the thought process. Now that's very, very, what you call great philosophical thing to say. But practically, if you really want to become innovative, you need to get hands-on. None of the skill is a course. Yeah. Today, you are lucky that you can go and contribute to so many open source programs. You have the ability to volunteer into so many places where they would need your technology and this stuff. The one thing that has really changed over the years, which I think is to your benefit, is no knowledge is gone waste, especially with the whole Gen AI part, because today we are building solutions that cut across multiple fields. We are no longer solving mathematical problems. We are solving mathematical problems that actually use language as a construct. We are actually trying to solve problems where biotechnology and technology, biology and technology come together, and how you can build something really using AI. So what you call knowledge goes waste. So to be innovative, acknowledge a problem, become hands-on, and collaborate with somebody who's got a different skill. You can no longer build a product or build something on your own. You need to have a group of people. And I call this as like, this prior to this, they had this like a bunch of minds together is better than a single mind. That's pretty much true today. Collective thinking, collective building, and collectively solving is what is required. So get your hands dirty, start building small things, start looking at stuff that somebody's problem, small things can be very easily solved. I was reading about the other day about this person from Christ University who just saw a straw of coconut thing and decided to make a sustainable straw. One Mr. Saji Verghese, right? Which is interesting. It's a very national brand right now. It is sold internationally. So innovation comes only when you start looking at things and the problems it can solve.
Very true. Thanks, Vasanthi. I think very, very valuable inputs from everyone. We probably will go for questions.
Can I
now,
just
but I think
add one thing to what Vasanthi was
Sure,
saying?
sure.
So I think we grow up, and especially in schooling and even in colleges, we're always encouraged to have answers. I think the one thing I would encourage you, and this is something I've learned in my career, I'm going to complete 30 years in Jan. And the one thing that I've learned is to be able to ask questions. You need to challenge, you need to ask questions and never feel hesitated about the fact that you don't know something, right? I mean, it's okay to not know and ask the question, because you will realize that if you were in a room of 10 people, maybe nobody has the answer.
Yeah.
And you all need to find the answer. A lot of times we get into this trap of not asking questions. And if you notice the skills map that I was showing, one of the things that they clearly called out is curiosity.
Yeah.
So innovation is very closely tied to curiosity, for you to find out, for you to know. I mean, if you read any of the best scientists we've ever followed, and for me, Albert Einstein is still like, I still get goosebumps when I read something about him or talk about him. He comes across as such a simple person, and he wasn't the best student. He asked good questions, and when he wanted to solve something, he got single-mindedly after that problem. That kind of focus, that kind of resourcefulness to even go and ask other people to join and solve a problem is what we really need. And if you all can be great innovators, for all you know, 10 years from now, some of you will have great companies you would have started, or you would be working in some great projects. And I hope that's the future. But don't forget that it's the questions that matter, not necessarily always the answers.
None of the AIs will solve your problem if you don't ask the right question. And more deeper the question you ask, the better answer you will get for that. And also, I think with a lot of these things available for us, the curiosity and innovation sort of takes a little back step. But that is very, very important to give it to the forefront. That's going to be a differentiator. These skills are available for everyone to actually use them. But I think those are the ones which will probably create a huge differentiator. I think doesn't matter what background we come from. Now the world is in a place where you can explore just express yourself and do wonders. I mean, give an example. Today's Indian cricket team is made up of Mohammad Siraj, an auto driver kid, or a Yashasvi Jaiswal Pani Puri vendor's kid, or Tilak Verma. So the world has changed. If you look at 20 years back, it used to be Mansur Ali Khan Patodi is coming from a rich family to do that. I think the entire corporate world is going to look differently in the coming years, because we are just opening up. This is an avenue for you to express yourself and do wonders.
It already has. I mean, so I conduct some of these workshops here for presentation skills. And some people come to these workshops because they feel like, I've grown up in a very, rural area, or I don't have this level of exposure. But when you look at them, they have such great experiences. They come from farming families. Their experience is so much different from people who grew up in these cities who have no idea about some of the things. So when they get the confidence, it's just a question of getting the confidence to say, I don't have anything less. I have something different to add. They become very different. And so, it's not a question of you don't have something. It's a question of what different do you bring to the table, and you sort of use it.
Cool. Great. Thank you. With that, we'll get into question and answers. We have about 8 to 10 minutes. Please ask your questions.
If you don't ask, please start asking.
Yeah.
So,
we have to call you out.
Ma'am, actually, my doubt is regarding, like, as you said, like it's keep changing from
from SQL, like learning SQL, and to now like there was a drag and drop, control flow, data flow, and now it is being again changed to SQL sort of stuff. So can you please help us understand like what are the current trends or the frameworks that we need to learn? Because since we are students, we have the greater opportunity to learn new stuffs because we need to be job ready or career ready to be in any of the industries.
Okay, great question. And firstly, let me tell you, I always say this that problem solving skills, analytical skills. If you look back in the days when we were coding, we had multiple languages, right? You had SQL, then there were some full stack developers, Java, and so on. One thing that you need to be able to come up when there is a problem is an algorithm on how you're going to solve. Nobody is going to say that you have to solve this in Java or in a particular tool or technology. So you need to understand what that logical flow is going to be, what that algorithm is going to be. So I will still say focus on those skills. Now, in terms of what is current trends and technologies, AI, ML is definitely there. Data is definitely there. And what you want to do in each of these spaces is going to be completely based on your interest. So I have people who are building these data pipelines. So we said you need good foundational data. So doing data quality checks, identifying what are the flaws in the data. Do we have discrepancies in the data? So there are people who are actually doing data profiling, data cleansing. Then there are people who are building the pipelines to ensure this data then flows, it gets transformed. There are a lot of business logic that we have. It transforms the data. Then you have people who are actually making it in a visually appealing manner, are the people who build your reports, right? So for each of these skill sets, you have different tools and technologies that you need to master. But at the end of the day, the basis is going to be what your interest is on. That is on the data side. AI ML, again, there are multiple opportunities right now. And data scientist, which was, and again, AI ML is not something new. It has been around for many, many years. It's just the generative AI that has got really, it's broken the internet after this whole chat GPT revolution or evolution that came across. But ML, or the data scientist, your statistical knowledge, your mathematical knowledge, all of those. So if you have interest in that, you will have to put a lot more focus on those areas. Otherwise, prompt engineering, right? How are you going to write good kind of prompts so that outcomes are going to be catered to what you're looking for? So these are some of the trends that I can see even within our organization where we have done upskilling. We did not have any AI ML people, but they were all data people, basically people who are data engineers, data analysts. And then we cross-skilled, upskilled them to identify where we are going. And then they went into prompt engineering. We got some data scientists and things like that.
So I've lived many years in the IT field, so I can tell you what to learn for sure, right? So I think nothing that they taught you in your school is outdated, right? Your fundamental understanding about programming languages, whether it is procedural code, whether it's a functional code, what is object-orientedness, all of these, how do you actually optimize on multi-threading, or when all these are concepts that will be used, does not matter which language comes in. It's a fact. Today, one programming language, tomorrow, another programming language, something else. But if you have the basic understanding of how you differentiate between them and what to use for the right problem statement. So you might think everybody in the industry is now asking you for AI ML. Trust me, almost 80% of the industries today still run software that is written somewhere that is like very, very remote. They are not going to check to see whether you understand the latest and greatest of the technology. They want to see if you can apply the fundamentals to the problem the right way, and you know to make a decision which is the right technology to use, right? So I would suggest, I don't expect you as a fresher to come here in an interview to ask you about prompt engineering or to ask you about AI and whether you have done some data cleansing and data work and all that. I would ask you very simple things. Do you understand how is data models? What are different data models? Do you understand what is the concept of actually converting data from one to the other? So focus on your foundation, right? But be aware of what is the trend. So there is an awareness, there is an expertise. Today, as a fresher, your expertise is fundamentals. any neural network you take, any AI algorithm that you write, or any sort of a pipeline that you build, all of these are optimization engines that you'll end up doing. Unless you understand what is, if you look at the end of the day, an LLM, all you're working on is nothing but a loss function, which is a quadratic equation for you. So if you don't understand the concepts, you'll not be able to use anything further. So my simple suggestion to you is be good in your foundation, be technology aware, find that one area where you want to really go hone in your skills and spend more time in it, because technology is vast. You cannot become a master of everything. You need to find your niche. Algorithms, that's my niche. Data, that's my niche. Analytics, that's my niche. Or user experience, that's my area. But focus on your fundamentals.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have time for probably one or two more questions. So 100 years of experience sitting and waiting for you to answer the questions. Add another 25 years from right?
Okay, ma'am, this is for you, Shilpa ma'am. As a WIT leader, what are the initiatives that are made in NetApp to support women in tech?
Sure. You're asking what we do within NetApp?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot, but let me start with mentorship. We have all talked about mentorship, how it is important, and it is important at every stage of your career, no matter where you are, whether as a fresher or as a leader. So that's one of the things that we do is we pair up women with mentors from different areas which are not part of their hierarchy. So it's not like you're getting mentored by your manager or your manager's manager, but somebody from engineering getting mentored by somebody in finance, and which we believe is a two-way street, two-way learning, right? So the finance person gets to learn something about engineering, the engineering gets to learn about finance, and of course there are soft skills. So that's one of the program that we run. We also run a program called a sponsorship, which is a step above mentorship, and where what we ask of leaders is to invest time in this particular woman. So while you're mentoring somebody, it is always about solving an issue or solving a problem that the person is facing. But when it is sponsorship, the leader is actually helping the woman scale in their career. Right? So it can be give them this additional project, let them shadow you in your meetings just to see how a leader runs their meetings, right? So this is how they get to know the person. This is how they will be able to speak about this person. So if Vasanti was my sponsor, when I am not around her, what can she say about me, right? Because because she has given me a project or she has seen me do some work, and this is how we build the scaling. So this is really investing in the woman's career by assigning them sponsors. We run a lot of events, whether it is financial well-being, physical well-being, mental well-being, because all of these, if you think are important only now, that's not true. And somebody spoke about work-life balance or balancing everything in life. It becomes more and more difficult as you progress in your career and as you progress in your family life as well, right? While you're single, while you're alone, the responsibilities are very different from having kids or having a spouse or having in-laws and everything, right? So how do you balance that? And a lot of us face a lot of different types of challenges. Some are very common, like we all spoke about the social pressures, and there are some challenges which are very different and very unique to each one of us. So we provide a lot of support in that terms also. So yeah, those are some of the highlights that I can speak about. And of course, we partner with FFE to help the students or the next generation, come up and build their skills as well.
Nice. Thank you, ma'am.
One last question. Yes.
Ma'am, I wanted to ask.
Wait, why don't you tell your name as well? Your name, sorry?
Yes. My name's Bindu. I wanted to ask, what makes a resume stand out, like for a fresher?
Good academics, for sure. We want to show that you have a commitment in your program that you have been working. So we definitely expect good academics. How much of it has been proactive? How much you have proactively been learning? How much of this you have been contributing to? We like to get holistic people, right? So when I look at a resume, I like to look at holistic people. People who have just not academically done, but they also are in sports or in volunteering or in some other social activity. Like I said, this is the future generation. At least this is how I look at resumes, right? And most importantly, how much are you aware of certain things that you are good at, right? You can, many resumes put so many words into it, like you can mine and you can get all the latest and greatest things and put in there. Most important thing about a resume is honesty. If you put in a verb there, if you put in a noun there, you need to actually be able to talk about it, right? So remember that, honest about what you learn, having a good academic career and having a holistic stuff and making it short and crisp, talking about yourself is what stands out in a resume. Anything that you get from the internet, mine and put all the great words in there. I don't expect that at all from somebody who's coming out of college, because I can bet you so much. Even people who have worked for like 32 years right now in the industry, I don't think I can tell half technologies I know completely. More than 90% of the technologies I'm not even aware of, right? I only know technologies in which I'm focusing on right now. So I expect your academics to be really good. I expect you to be somebody who has like aced your academics, knows your subjects very well. Yes.
Yeah, one other thing I would add is, I mean, today I think we're seeing a barrage of resumes come which are AI treated, and
Yes.
so you will have to deal with that also, because you'll be, competing for a certain role or a position where people have, taken help and curated that resume using AI in a certain way. One thing I would suggest is, when you're trying to apply for a role or a company, or you're trying to get into an organization, learn about that organization, understand what they do, right? So that you can actually create a covering letter, or say something about what would you be able to contribute, what do you want to learn. Because for somebody like you who is relatively new in their career, it's about your learning aptitude. What people are looking for is how curious you are. What do you want to learn? What do you bring to the table? Because they know that they will have to train you, they will have to actually bring you up to speed with a lot of things. So the more genuine you are, to Asa Basanti's point, the integrity of that resume is very important. But also, how do you connect to that business or that organization is very important.
People who didn't score well, please don't think you have no opportunities in life. Okay. I think the most important thing is, some people are very hands-on. They are not very academic. They cannot really go to an exam and excel, right? But there are so many opportunities for you to shine by contributing to some open source project or contributing to some technology online. That is your digital resume. Nothing beats your digital footprint and your digital resume. So I had once a student who gave me a resume when I was working in Flipkart, which only said hacker rank number 4. That's it. And at the link for his GitHub. It was impressive. Nothing to speak about. That's all it was. It was a 2-line resume attachment which just said this: name, address, mobile number, hacker rank number 4. And this is my GitHub repo. So you have an ability to create a digital footprint. So please do it. So
one last question.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ms. Van. My question is for the. So my question is to the Vasudha ma'am.
It's okay. It's okay. We can hear. Good.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
They are not transparent. So, to find the transparency, to get into the blockchain. So, if find a solution over there, is it, the question comes, is it applicable in the real life? Centralization.
So you're talking primarily about blockchain technology, and if you find a solution in blockchain technology, okay.
So, is it applicable in the real life world?
Okay.
The question comes over there.
Okay, so it's a very interesting question, right? Does every innovation actually translate to solving a business problem? Or is it just like, a great theory for me? So anybody who has done math over here, right? All these theorems that we come up and all these Lagrange equations that we solved, all these relaxations that we put in, we really wonder, why the hell did this mathematician do all of this stuff, right? Trust me, they are all used somewhere or the other in the real world later, when you really look at it, when you look at all of this stuff. So maybe when you're solving a problem, when you're trying to idealize over a solution, you might not sometimes find a practical application. To answer your question specifically about blockchain and transparency, right? There was a lot of work done about blockchain and transparency in supply chain management, where people wanted to actually make sure that you can find out the complete journey of a product from a raw material to when it comes to your desk, primarily for two reasons. One is for sustainability perspective, and also to understand what is the complete trade compliance that it passed through, right? So there is a value for it, but implementing the technology across such a widespread problem was becoming a huge issue. People were not able to do it because it meant you had to go cross countries, you had to go to a farmer, you had to go to a procurer, and so many other things to do blockchain with transparency in supply chain. But at the same time, blockchain is still used today in sustainability measures when you're doing local scale projects. Like when you really want to do something like an organic mandia where you're actually getting produce, which is organically developed. So that entire chain is done through blockchain. So yes, if you're bringing up a solution like that, there is a practical usage. Is there a widespread usage? No. I don't know if your question was specifically for blockchain and transparency.
Is this the right time to find the solutions in this technology?
There is no right or wrong time. Anytime you want to do, you should find a solution. All problems are currently the right time to solve. If it's a problem, it's a right time to solve.
The customers are not exposed to the decentralized.
So I'll give you an example of an MacBook, right? Or even an iPhone. Customer was never used to this interactive design at all. Customer sometimes does not know what they want. So that's one of the biggest, if anybody has read Steve Jobs' book, this is the first statement he says. Your customer does not know what they want. They will only tell you what your problems are and what you gave to them, right? But they really don't know what they want. You need to think, what is the next level that you want to bring to your customer? This is where innovation comes into picture. This is where innovation comes into picture. If you think, why do I have to press 2 buttons to go up in an elevator? Can I just say a single button, or can I do something? I don't think you have to press 2 buttons. I just gave that as an example, but that's how you think different. So the answer to your question is, it's not about what your customer thinks. It's about how do you apply that problem. Many times application of a problem is where there's the biggest hindrance, because it is more expensive to do that solution than to do something on a piece of paper and get done with it. So the practicality of the solution is something that you need to find out. And you can only do it if you test the waters. Practicality of solutions can only be done when you test the waters. There's no, I don't have a measurement to say, will this work or will this not work? Unless you try small prototypes, unless you apply it on small things, you cannot expand. Experimentation is the key.
Thank you. I think we don't have more time for the questions, but if any one of you have more questions, please send it across to Chandri, and we'll ensure that we'll get answers from these leaders. I think it's a fantastic session. Thank you for, for me, it was an eye-opener. When I walked in, I was putting myself in the shoes of an engineer, a fresh engineer who's getting into the college. The questions which probably were in my mind is that where is the industry going? Is AI going to take my job away? Are they going to have jobs? Are we going to have jobs? And things of those nature were bothering me. And what should I do to be able to learn that? I think there's probably a masterclass which has happened in between 4 of them. In terms of one, wasn't he talking about there is so much happening in the industry, don't need to worry about what future looks like. At the same time, they need to have specific skills to ensure that you're doing well, to be able to get into, exploit and explore those opportunities which are there. And there are several avenues which are available to be able to learn these skills. And also it's not just the ones which are visible to us. There are at that last quadrant, there are a lot of invisible stuff which is not visible for us on a day-to-day basis if you're not reading into that. And also the world is in a better place in terms of from the diversity, and actually open up for people to just explore if they have right skill set and all. I think that's what I am living with. I think today, if you any of you have come to the same thought process, to be able to go back with a confidence level that there is so much to explore and do good things. B, there are opportunities and avenues available. C, I think the other one is more about how do you make a resume simple at the same time having the innovation mindset of solving a particular problem and being there and just look at the world from a different angle than finishing off a specific course or certification. Any last thoughts from, please. Yeah.
On a lighter note, I think Shilpa made an observation that girls are sitting behind. All the questions came from the girls. I would say they gave boys an opportunity to go front rather than them sitting behind. So yeah.
And also one statement that I think all of you should do is never give up. I think Shilpa just said that statement. Never give up. You have come this far. The answer to what you need to do as to succeed in whichever gender you are. You all of us have pressures in different ways. Never give up. That's very important, right? How we succeeded, all of us succeeded today, is just by not giving up. You don't have to give up one to achieve the other. That's very important. I had children when I was 25, right? I did never one day quit my job. In 32 years, one day, I only took 4 days maternity leave, 4 weeks maternity leave. That's it, right? So there is always a way for you to never give up, but still to do what you want to do, everything you want to do. The fact that you cannot do it means that you're not looking at the avenues. That's all. So every time you hit that ceiling, remember that you have not looked at all the avenues. You're just finding the easy path out. It's not easy. It's very tough. Especially 3 of us sitting here can vouch on this. And there's another lady sitting there. We all have. Where's Prachi? So all of us have gone through this. So that's all I will say. I'm so happy to see you guys here, because I'm sure you came from diverse backgrounds and from different socio and economic structure that you are here today. Past all that, you're sitting here today in a very big company, and you're able to talk with 4 people who are giving time to you, means you have made it.
So thank you so much to our incredible panelists, Vasanthi, Shilpa, Anju, Joseph. Thank you so much. Talking through with your wisdom and with such honesty and with your heart. Really appreciate, and thank you so much, Ram. For moderating this panel so thoughtfully. And to everybody, to all the member staff from Foundation, thank you so much for your collaboration and for being such a strong force in, I would like to say, shaping futures. So thank you for your time, for your thoughtfulness, and for your willingness to guide and help. A heartfelt shout out to Prachi also, because there were so many moving pieces to be able to organize this event, approvals, logistics, and so on. Before we move on to the next part of the day, I would like to invite everyone with the panelists, students, mentors, volunteers, and everyone for a group photo. So let's just capture the moment together. And thank you once again. Let's keep the energy going.
Thank you, Akhil. Thank you, Prachi, and thank you, NetApp. I think the partnership with NetApp is not about ticking the box of CSR at all. I think what you guys do is actually setting up a sort of a model for others to replicate on, as from in terms of the skilling and spreading your knowledge and awareness and internships. Now has been a fantastic partnership. Thank you. Come.
There are no curved photos unless somebody finds it.
Let's come. Sorry.